And the subscribe button on your way in, man. And hit the notification bell so you can check me out every time I got content. Today we going in specifically about the Miami Dolphins. You know, we talk about Florida sports here. Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Miami Heat. You know, we get into all that. But today we're going to talk specifically about where does this loss leave the Miami Dolphins? How do they shape up against the top teams in the NFL? Exactly where were they last year at this time, and who are they now? Who are they? Who are we watching on Sundays? Watching the game, we've seen a lot of good things. I've seen a lot of positive things. I've seen a lot of things that gives me motivation about the way the team is moving. See, last year, you know, it was basically tryouts. We just was trying to find out what's the depth of the team, who is really good, who is really able to play in the league, because we had a lot of players that was being shipped out of other places. They were being counted out. A lot of guys that were getting second and third chances to be in the league, to be pros, and the Dolphins gave these guys opportunity. This year, it's a matter of, we made a selection of you last year, guys like Nick Needham, you know, guys like that, and we saw talent in you and we want to see what exactly are you? You know what I mean? You could be good, but it's good guys working at UPS that can play football. So the Miami Dolphins gave a lot of guys opportunity, and they're playing on a consistent basis. Games like this last game in Week 14 against Kansas City Chiefs, we get to see exactly who these cats are. Are these guys that just keep themselves in shape? Or are they guys that can really play in the National Football League? Now, we got a lot of positive things to say, and I'll start off with talking about Tua Tagovailoa, which is the Dolphins' rookie quarterback. He played solid. I believe Flores took this opportunity when they fell behind to give him the keys to the car and say, look, we're not going to even try to run the ball. Basically, all three of the Dolphins running backs were out with all type of nicks and dinks and illnesses. So they didn't have a real running back except DeAndre Washington. I don't want to take no away from that guy. He's a stand-up guy. He played and he gave his best foot. He put his best foot forward. But they didn't have anybody that we knew from camp. This was a guy that they traded for. They just hung around, and they really didn't even have to feed him that much. He's pretty much a scat back, a third down back. He's pretty much a speed guy. He's not a guy that you run up the middle behind the center in between the tackles type of guy. So having that situation, you putting Tua in a situation where you feel like, hey, we're going to live and die off you. You know, we're going to crash and burn off what you do. The special teams let him down today. Well, this Sunday. The special teams let him down. They gave up a punt return. They missed a field goal. That right there is a big turnaround in the game. And I'm not going to go with the woulda, shoulda, couldas, but consistently the special team has been a strong suit for the Dolphins. It's been a strong part of the Dolphins' punch. That's been a strong part of their team. The kicker rarely misses field goals. We have not given up big returns like that. And it was something that you get when you play against a team that's abnormally good. You know what I'm saying? You're not playing against the Jets of the world. You're not playing against, you know, teams that the Cincinnati Bengals of the world. And not to take away from those professionals, but they aren't the Super Bowl champs. All right, so we talking about Tua Tagovailoa coming out, throwing the ball consistently to his targets, and he made a couple questionable decisions. I want to say in the first half, I'm sure if you remember this, hit me in the comment section. When he went for Devontae Parker on the outpost, that pass was right where it was supposed to be. It wasn't that you can drop it to the pylon. It was something that you had to hit him in the hands on a high point. Devontae jumped up there, but he didn't catch the ball. So that was a part of the game that you could throw in the woulda, coulda, shoulda basket. Didn't work out. 6 off the board. You're not getting those. Also, on that same play, if you watch the game, or if you go back and check it out, Jakeem Grant's coming on a slant in the middle of the field. If Tua hits him, that's 6. Woulda, coulda, shoulda basket as well. But we're not going to talk about those that long. But what I'm saying is on that particular play, that was a pivotal play that Tua's going to put in his mental bank. And the next time it's time to make a withdrawal, he's going to get that. He's going to have that stash, and that's going to make him a better player. So those are plays that we can look forward to. Also, if you look back on the game where he had Jakeem Grant on a deep pass, this was the last pass I believe he threw to Jakeem Grant, and then all of a sudden he had an injury. But he threw the ball kind of short to Jakeem. The play was still able to be made. Jakeem went up and tried to catch the ball with his body. You don't see many guys go to the Hall of Fame. You don't see many guys with max contracts. You don't see many number one wide receivers catching the ball with their stomach. Most of the guys that play wide receiver catch the ball with their hands. I'm just saying. Now, with that being the case, him trying to do that, the ball was reflected off, off his hands, and also it was a receiver in there all on it. So it was an interception. Yeah, it was an interception. So going to say what I'm saying now is that in the second half, Devontae Parker and Jakeem Grant so surprisingly came up with injuries. Now, what I'm saying about that is, my point, Brian Flores is not one of those coaches that's going to watch you give up a half performance and keep on chucking with you. If he took Tua out for playing bad in the Denver game, then he got to show Tua the same thing. The same treatment goes for everybody. Listen, you guys, y'all can say injury, whatever y'all want to say. Same thing he said about Tua's hand. Jakeem, Devontae, we got a lot of chips in y'all. We got a lot of eggs in you guys' basket. And when it's time for y'all to make my quarterback look good, you need to do it. Because guess what? When it's time for him to ask to beat out of Miami, he's going to throw these points up. You sat me down, but then you gave guys like Devontae, who's playing for cheap, Jakeem Grant, who's playing for these hometown discounts. You gave them guys opportunities to make me look bad. Now when it's time to pay me, you're going to hold things against me like incompletions. You're going to hold things against me like games that we could have won. You're going to hold things against me like yards that I don't have. And that does not all contribute to Tua. A lot of those things have to do with Devontae Parker and Jakeem Grant, players along those lines that drop passes and miss opportunities. You can't put the whole game on Tua, and I learned that. I talked to my cousin. He cussed me out. He told me that I'm wrong, so I made sure I got that right. But anyway, going into where we are now. Where we are now also contributes to what I was just talking about. You take guys out that aren't giving you 100% or not making the big play in the big game. I think now we are a team that's coming across the bridge with our quarterback as Tua. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Ben Roethlisberger, a rookie Ben Roethlisberger. It doesn't necessarily be Peyton Manning. It can be a work in progress, and I do think we are there, but I do think we do have a guy that can lead the ship. I do think you also have to get insurance. You have to get guys that can play behind them that are going to be, contributing also that'll be there if Tua, God forbid, has an injury. So you gotta let them lead the ship, but you also have to, cover your back in that sense. But now they still don't have a running game, just like they didn't have last year. But the offensive line is also coming across that bridge. So Tua's crossing that bridge with his offensive line, and they're all saying like, look, this is a change of guard. This is a new Miami Dolphins team. This is not just a pushover. You're not gonna come to South Beach and party, beat us by 14, and then go back home. You're not gonna do that. So the pandemic has a lot to do with what things are shaping up, but this offensive line is coming along as well. But I don't think that if you had a good running back, the offensive line will look as bad. I think they will look a little bit better than how they look because the running back isn't as extremely talented, but you have a okay guy back there, not nobody special. Looking at the way the team is going, I don't think that guys like Jakeem Grant will make it, but I do think Lynn Bolton Jr. will be a major contributor, and not just how the Dolphins play on the field, but the way they are coming out to fight. I think he's a fighter, and I think the Dolphins need guys like that. If your number one receiver is Devontae Parker, you can't drop passes like that. And I just think where they are now is that they're acknowledging things like that. Devontae can't be your number one receiver if he doesn't make catches like that in games like that. You can't go for that. But how they are as far as who they play against teams like Kansas City and the New Orleans Saints, I do think that they'll play away or opportunity away or a special teams play here, a defensive play here. I think the defense is one of the best defenses in the league, and I do think that the Dolphins have been here before with one of the best defenses, and the offense not ready, and the special teams not ready, and the running backs not ready. I think they've been there before. They've had the roster for a good defense. They've had an offensive line and didn't have a defense. They've been there, and there's a lot of teams that always wind up there. A lot of Chicago Bears, teams that have a dominant side of the ball and they can't get help on the offense, can't get help from the special teams. So I do think that this is normal territory for a Dolphin fan, but I also believe that Tua will bring the offense around. Tua will consistently give them 24 a game, consistently give the defense 24 to 27 points a game, and I do think the defense will stand up. Now, a team like Kansas City, you can't give them safeties. You can't give them punt return touchdowns. That'll give you an L. I don't care how many times you take the ball from them. You can take the ball from them and then give a punt return by not scoring and then going 3 and out, kicking them the ball and then giving up 6. You might as well let Mahomes throw it in. It's the same thing. So you win and you lose by the gun, but I do feel like the Dolphins are coming along. I do think that they're a tier beneath teams like Kansas City, like New Orleans. I don't think that they can beat teams like Tampa Bay. I'm a Dolphin fan through and through, but I call a spade, and the Dolphins are coming along. They're on the cusp of being great. I think that the draft will change things. I think the offseason will change things. And I think harsh decisions will change things. I think they have to make a harsh decision with Devontae Parker and Jakeem Grant and players like that and put them in their place because they've been the best for the Dolphins, but are they the best on other teams? Now, what I want you guys to do is I want you to tell your friends, to tell a friend, to tell a friend to check out Verbal Warning I'm your host, Big Verb. Where are the Dolphins now? They're still not that team, but we getting there, baby.